but there are buildings blocking alongside Dragoons, so there's not going to be any sort of funky play there. There we go, Arbiter Tribunal. Probably scan should be ready at this point for Hwasin, so we're probably going to scan the man, and naturally should know this is coming. But yeah, there's just very, very standard play for both these guys. We're going to see a starport alongside a command center, alongside more factories. He's probably going to put down his armory fairly soon as well. Just, yeah, of course, that science facility coming up just so you can get those weapons 2 upgrades going from that first factory as soon as you can. Actually moving out with a few tanks. It's a very large tank number, only a few vultures. And there's not going to be any battles quite yet, I feel, except that few vulture feelers from Hwasin were really the only thing that were any real aggressive move from any player so far. They're just going to kind of go around. Hwasin, the biggest thing he wants to do right now is go around, plant those mines, making sure that these little bit of pressure with those Dragoons, there is an observer alongside, those mines are going to go down, but just making sure the pressure does not continue. Turret being put up. We're going to see where the SCV gets picked off. Dragoons at the start are just going to start engaging that commander. Tanks unsieging, going to come in a little bit close, siege in. Dragoons are going to be forced back a little bit. At the very least, he's delaying this. The turret's going to come, so observers are actually going to go down. The Dragoon's going to be pushed back north. One Dragoon does go down. I think those 2 observers there, one of them might go down to the turret. But at the very least, he delays. He spots that third coming up. He delays it a little bit while he gets his own going. Also going for the 9 o'clock inside mineral only. So as soon as he spots Hwasin going for the third, he knows that Hwasin's push is going to be delayed because he went for that third before he went for the push. So he knows he's fairly safe to take that 4th base. Dropship being produced by Hwasin, so he's probably going to go for some vulture drops. Try to put that right up at the 1130 base of Kal. Try to do some economic harassment, because at this point in the game, it is going to be about economic harassment. Kal off 4 bases, Hwasin on 3 bases. It's going to come down to who's really managed to disrupt the other's economy. And Hwasin really, he's a guy that's known for choking a little bit on these best of 5 series. He's known especially to choke against Protosses way back when he was known for losing in these sets against Bisu. Kal actually cannoning up fairly heavily in 1130. He has Dragoons out in the field as well, so Hwasin's getting pushed back just by knowing that he did scan, so he has the scouting on that. And Kal, despite back in the day in 2008 when he was kind of up and coming and got himself into a surprise final, got himself into the final of an MSL where he eventually lost to Jaedong. He was a sort of a PvZ sniper, really. He was a PvZ-oriented player. That was his main matchup. That was what he did best. But lately, he's become a very proficient PvT player. Overall, really has rounded out each of his matchups. So they're all hit over, I believe they're all over 55%. His PvT is at 60. Probe going to put down a pylon, so the dropship going to come in alongside those vultures. Going to be Dragoons, long-time observer, going to try to at least prevent those vultures. Vultures, meanwhile, going to engage them to delay. Dropship not going to... Dropship actually just has a single attack. He's going to drop it down. I think that dropship is going to go down alongside that tank. Tank was put inside the dropship, and that died instantly. So that was actually kind of a bad move by Hwasin. He should have just if he was going to drop the tank, he should have just run away with the dropship, because there was a surround coming in on due to those Dragoons. He could have actually just skipped dropping it completely. Meanwhile, Kal now has his initial Arbiter. He's not going to have his spells ready quite yet, I feel, to really use them. But he does have his initial one. And I'm thinking that on the opposite side, we actually have Hwasin readying his initial science vessel to start EMP. Of course, you need mobile detection against Arbiters, and of course to EMP. Kal going to go for the 1230 mineral only, so he's going to expand rather aggressively, adding in a bunch of gateways. He's just going to hit macro mode. He's hoping to completely overwhelm Hwasin, putting in down a second Stargate. Going to try to go for very heavy on the Arbiter production, going around actually hunt those mines in the upper right hand, just give himself the maneuverability he needs. Hwasin has a pretty decent defensive grids, has weapons 1, waiting on his weapons 2. No weapons upgrades from Kal. I think I saw a forge being put up, not quite sure there. But yeah, Hwasin has put down a fairly decent defensive grid. It has some sciences out in the field, so he's going to be able to defend fairly well. Also, I think has a fairly decent recall defense, except for his main. His main is, except for a couple of turns, not really defending against recalls at all. He's defending his 2 expansions from recalls primarily. Kal, meanwhile, hitting just a huge number of gateways. Does have the first 2 forges coming up. None of them is spitting at the moment, so I'm not quite sure whether he's actually not paying attention. That might want to hit his upgrades at the same time. Moving up, yeah, already has weapons 1 actually, so that was already spinning. So he's going to be getting 1, 2. Hwasin now has 1 armor, weapons 2. While Kal's actually going to move in here. A lot of turrets to engage those Arbiters. Going to be a lot of tanks. Sciences are going to get an EMP on that Arbiter. There's not going to be any stasis. Arbiter might go down to the turret. Kal's going to be forced to push back. He's very Dragoon heavy here. He's not going to be able to run in. Doesn't have any Zealot bombs to engage those tanks with. And not really many Zealots to run in. Well, Hwasin's just going to take this opportunity to move a little bit more out. Has the command center being ready. It's probably going to take the 6 o'clock, inside 6 o'clock minute. Only Arbiter going to go down. So that absolutely no stealth. No cloaking for any of those ground forces. A lot of Dragoons on the ground, but I think they're just going to be crushed here. A lot of tanks not even sieging up. They're just going to come in close and engage. All of their support auxiliary troops have gone down, but I'm not quite sure whether they have enough forces. Tanks not being sieged. A lot of them sieging right now. We're going to see whether the timing works out for them. Going to start sieging. Those Dragoons are going to come in still a little bit of range. Kal might actually be thinking of moving those Dragoons even a little bit closer. He's still engaging, taking a lot of these tanks out. Tanks also engaging. Arbiter coming in at a critical moment. That's going to allow Kal to completely finish this off. Zealots running in as well. And a shuttle with Zealot bombs inside. I think Hwasin might have had that if the Arbiter didn't come in at that very clutch moment. Kal actually did not move close in with his Dragoons because he knew that Arbiter was coming in. He sacrificed several of his Dragoons, quite a few of his Dragoons, but actually whittled down Hwasin's army quite a bit. And he's expanding the upper right again and at the lower left. Oh my god, he's just taking the entire map right now. And because he's put down so many gateways and is macroing like crazy alongside, this doesn't really... Putting down these bases doesn't really delay his macro much. Hwasin going to go around, try to do some sort of economic harassment. Kal just playing an absolutely beautiful game of StarCraft here. There have been mines put down all over the place by Hwasin, trying to delay Kal as much as possible. But because Kal has been just expanding like crazy, oh, it's insane. Vultures coming around all over the place. They're going to might do some damage to the upper right. They're going to put down 3 cannons being put down. Definitely going to take out 1 cannon. Going to at least try to get some probe kills going. Going to pick off some of these cannons. Going to see, actually should put down some mines because these Dragoons are coming in close as well. Going to pick off the 3rd cannon. Going to see who actually manages to pick up anything else. Stasis on the science vessels. This is going to force Hwasin to move out of his defensive grid a little bit. Vultures going to come in, manage to pick off some of these probes. The Zealots and Dragoons and Arbiter support is going to come in and finish all of this off. A lot of Arbiters on the field for Kal. He's only lost 1 for my tally. And Hwasin not going to be allowed to expand the 3rd time. He's ready for it. He has a command center. He's ready to float up, which is not going to be allowed to expand because Kal's moving around all over the place. Going to move in. Not really that many forces to defend this 4 o'clock now. Oh, man, tanks coming in right now. Zealot's going to come in first. They're going to start engaging the command center. A lot of the damage done to the command center. More Dragoons coming in at range. We're going to see how heavily actually engages, taking down some of the supply depots. The turrets, I think also, there were some turrets that have also gone down. I'm not quite sure whether they might have actually gone down in the previous attack. Some of the sciences are almost getting picked off. Hwasin not paying attention to them due to them being stasis. Kind of lost sight on the command center, just being forced to float in the air, not do anything. You know, kind of in limbo. Not a lot of saturation for Kal with this lower left hand, and quite a few probes picked off at the upper right, but still he has a lot of probes at almost all of his bases, putting down gateways alongside cannons the upper right, so he's making sure he can defend. And Hwasin right now, he just falling behind heavily. He's ahead on upgrades, but he's not really being engaging very well, honestly. He has to do something very solid. Pick some observer there, but, you know, whatever. Doesn't really help him win the game. A lot of Arbiters out in the air. Zealot bombs ready as well. Kal is going to come in to engage here. EMPs go off on some